Yeah, I want to share something real cool with you guys. You're here at Garden Gnomes Etc, where we have about 8 different water gardens. The one here is actually 75 feet long, so I consider that one. And when we shut it down a little bit, it breaks down into 3 different ones. And what we are doing here is we're showcasing these absolutely stunning and in some ways spectacular, beautiful rock formations. Come in a lot of different waterfalls, ponds, and so on. We're going to start off at the bottom of the waterfall here of the water garden. We're going to work ourselves up and around the house. This one here is the cave waterfalls. Also, it's actually there's 3 of them going from the Maldives, Oasis, and the Tahitian. Those are all names of swimming pool waterfall. You add the edge rocks. You can make it a kit. If you want to use it as in a garden or a landscaping, it becomes like, and it's all has to do with the tubing size where you connect it. Now, of course, with your swimming pool, it's 1.5 inch diameter outlet. When you get into the pond, and I'll show you exactly what I mean here. Here's a rock to disperse the water a little bit, but that's where the water comes out, and that just gives it a different look. Because last year I had that look, and I put a couple LED lights in there, so it looked really phenomenal with the different lights, and of course the light kind of flickers off of the surrounding rocks. This year I kind of put a rock here so it cascades a little bit more. When you look into these beauties, that's where on a lot of sites you lose the beauty of these, the gorgeous look. It's very hard to really encapsulate the beauty of these things with a picture. So we're kind of getting in here so you can actually see the different looks, and you can see my hand, you see all the different crevices, and they do look really real. I call them as real as it gets without all the weight. They are from real rock formations. The coating is that of natural elements like your pulverized rock and your sand. We're going to get going on here because we got a lot to cover. Now moving up our water, which you can see where I'm working a little bit here. But as you come up, I like to showcase in each of these different ponds different ideas. And just as you saw the spectacular cave falls, here we got a cascading unit. There's 2 of them here, and I love this. It's the 2 cascading waterfalls that you see, 001 and the 003. You put them together, again, you can see the bubbling effects. Last year I had rocks on top of it. It just gives it a different appearance. Depending on if you put stuff to take care of your algae, I kind of like to see the algae kind of form on top, and you can control that very easy. One other thing that's cool is I carry the gnomes where you can create and paint your own to fit whatever landscaping design that you want to have in place. So we're going to come up, and sometimes not the biggest one is, I'm like in this situation, this is a littler pond, and I have a nice little cascading type of a pond. It's one of the smaller ones. It comes out of the top. I have a rock up at the top so it disperses it a little bit. I like a lot of these because it creates a sort of a pond effect in here. This was a great place to put a fogger. It puts just enough fog in here to give it a magical, enchanted type of atmosphere at night. Underneath I have the different LED lights. And if you come at night on one of my videos, you can see it. Again, I just like the way the algae hangs down. And if you don't like the algae, that it's easy to take care of that. Another thing is this is the fall, and so the plants have already kind of died back. But in the summertime, we have a Japanese iris, and it just was beautiful with the white flowers overhanging it. So you get kind of the idea. There's different waterfall rocks and stuff to fit any type of landscaping. And this is one of the things that a lot of people ask, can I put this in my existing pond? You sure can. That's why it was kind of important to split this waterfall into 3 different separate parts to showcase some of these different ideas. Another one, we're going to go right up on to the deck. This one here, I let my son, who's 14, I said, Sean, I says, I need you to create something for, and the reason I say create, I didn't say design. All these are designs. All these are phenomenal. This here's a spectacular design. It's a vertical waterfalls. It's the medium one. That's a 005. And I says, hey, you know what? We not only do we showcase and we show these rocks here for anybody who wants to come through here, we're trying to answer some of your questions. And one of the ones that was out there, hey Dave, I don't have a pond, I don't have an existing pond, don't have room for one of the prefabbed ones that look so cool. How could I use this? And so I told my son Sean, I says, we got to come up with an idea. So this was his idea, and I helped him with it. It's a decorative base. We use Brazilian walnut. It's one of those composite deck boards. Inside we have the frame. We also have a basin in there that picks up the water. We have a hardware cloth and a screen in there, so all the leaves and stuff, it catches it, so we don't have to worry about cleaning the pump out. We put a couple 4x4s on each side to put these gorgeous ferns on there. And like I said, we're in fall. My tropical plants, well, they went south, so they're indoors, packed in peat moss, ready for next year. So again, you can do incredible things with these. We chose to put a rain chain. A lot of people don't know that these awesome rain chains can be put into fountains. I call them waterfalls, and what a way to really display them is right against this the backdrop of a universal rock. So let's keep moving. This is one that I kind of really like. This one here, sometimes what makes this look, this is a bubbling rock, and there's like 29 or 28 actually offered, and the bubbling rock can also be in an accent rock, so you don't have to have it bubble. This one here is actually just bubbling because it's sort of a new design, and I love it because I like to take the opportunity when it arises to make them more magical and fantasy, and use the different lighting. And the fogging up on the top is a fogger. I have it set to where the lights are yellow and orange with fog, so it looks like a miniature volcano. This garden here, in my landscaping, and I think the beauty of showing this in my landscape is it gives you an idea of what you can do with yours. These are just hints. These are just showing you some of the cool things you can do with these. We're going to move around because in this island that I had just plants and stuff, I kind of created this real cool universal. It's kind of like if you wanted to put parts and pieces together, but let's not make it cheap like that. This here in the middle is one of their cool medium ponds. And a lot of people ask me, what's my favorite rock? I don't know, guys. It's awfully tough to beat this large corner waterfalls. I think I'm the only one that offers it as a swimming pool waterfall, and I just love the beauty and the texture of the rocks. And again, you can see some of the moss that's growing off of it. And if you don't like the moss, you can put a little bit of chemical in there. It's not going to hurt the rock. Just a tad that will take care of your algae. Again, I have this going. We're already almost into November. I just love waterfalls with leaves and stuff. And the thing is, to keep this clean, I just use a pond net. I just dip it in, clean it out, and I'm done. So there's not a whole lot of work that goes into it. And I'll probably shoot something like this. I'm going to try to get into probably at least the middle of December. I want to see the snow. I want to see the ice. I want it all. I want to see all 4 seasons with my water garden. So that's 2 of the pieces here. You see the rain chain now will be shut down because I don't want a block of ice. Over here, and I kind of strategically picked out a lot of these. This over there is a spillway pond, which spills right into this, and a lot of times you see spillway ponds going in. It's just away from one pond getting into another, or even into a creek flowing. There's another medium waterfall that's going right into the spillway pond, so you get the idea. And something like this, as we check into the small creek with another cascading pond. Something like this, you'd probably think would take a lot of time to put in. This here, I got help from my uncle and my son. In fact, my son, when we were halfway through it, he says, "Dad, when can we have a break?" And I says, my son, there's no break when you're having fun. Let's just keep going." But something like this, if you did it with real rock and had somebody do it, you're probably talking a month or so. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here. This was probably a few days. It took actually more time for me to take my plant collections out than it did to actually put this in. And another great thing about this line of universal rocks, even the medium pond, it's very limited digging. The digging in the soil that I took out from the major, the medium pond, I came up here and I built it up with rocks and stuff. And actually, I have to redo this a little bit because I had this really big before, because I was going to put that spillway pond. I had it set up here. It was way too big. Then, of course, I made the base here way too small. So I have to bring it out a little bit because I need to sink my pond down a little bit because the edges are. But that's the great thing about this product. And that's one of the things that I want to show you, that this stuff here is easy to work with. It doesn't take a lot of time. And really, to come in and put one of these up in a day or two, that's phenomenal. It's very hard to do. It's very realistic, very, very gorgeous. And if you look at this waterfall, the back end, you can just see the crevices and the cracks, just like that of a real rock formation, which it was taken from. So and another thing with this, I made this a woodland setting. It's a woodland garden, actually a wildflower garden. It's going to have all the ferns, and it's going to be probably have some jack-in-the-pulpits along with some mayapple and even some trillium. But how about creating and painting your own woodland gnomes? And that's a good thing with garden gnomes. We're taking two awesome hobbies, that of water gardening and that of ceramics. Actually, I don't get into everything in the ceramics. I like the statue end of it to where you can make your own garden. And I've been doing water gardening probably for well over 45 years. I started off with 3 water lilies from Trickers. One was the Comanche, which is a sunset changing water lily. Another one was a Comatose, which is a yellow. The other one's a Gloriosa, which is considered a red. But you get the idea. I've been doing this for forever. I ended up with a collection of 45 hardy water lilies, all the different tropicals, the big Victoria, also the different lotus, and all the bog plants. So stuff like this, I mean, hey, a lot of people, they say, hey, well, you really get into this. And yeah, this is probably, I sleep, eat, and drink, and whatever, waterfalls, water gardens, all day long. So we're going to move along here. This is the one here, talking about spectacular, talking about awesome. This is it. I mean, this here was a flower bed that actually, when you come down the street, you see the side of my house. Not very eventful. Had tons of different flowering plants, but you know what? People don't go around and say, wow, look at that color, or look at that leaf, or look at this. This here, we designed it with the large vertical waterfalls. I believe it's the 003. I made it with the intent of taking advantage of the back side because it needs help being kind of mounting it up. So I put 4x4s into the ground with this lovely lattice work, which you can see. You can see the mounting brackets. And my vision, you got to have these visions. You got to see what you can do with this and picture it beforehand, because plants just take their time growing. This one here, I have 2 different types of passion flowers. They will take all over. Hopefully the vines will encompass the lattice work and droop over the waterfall. The ugly pipe above that my son was so against, I said, Sean, don't worry, my plants will take care of that. So that's the way it is. I'm trying to get the plants to encompass and take over and droop over my main waterfall. Another thing is this beautiful, this is probably, for a lot of people, like I said, ask, which is my favorite. I kind of like the corner. This one here is the medium waterfall. Also, it's the beachcomber for the waterfall people. Beautiful for swimming pools. Again, it has the cave-like appearance. On the one side, it cascades down and then drops way out in front of the other one. So, the one thing is, hey, can I put a liner in and put a couple of these big rocks in? And I said, sure. And the thing is, this is absolutely incredible because it's right against my house. Takes up some of the flower bed. I'm going to work around it. In fact, next year, this is only phase 2. Phase 3, I'm going to put a couple more waterfalls. If any of you guys ever saw the Great Falls in Virginia, I'm going to have a couple more waterfalls. I just want to see water falling. I want to see it everywhere. There's a rain chain again for you guys that like rain chains. This is an excellent way to have a rain chain fountain. I like to call them rain chain waterfalls. But here again, my son decided he wanted to be my supervisor. He was already the designer and designed the one. He was the worker for the other one. He figured he'd be a supervisor. And I says, that's fine, Sean. What do you want to do next? He says, Dad, I'm not going to micromanage you. He says, I'm going in the house. I got other work. Just carry on. So I knew he was up to no good. Next day, like he said, he was supposed to come out and see how I was doing. He never showed up. So I said, Sean, I need your help because this big vertical waterfall, I do need help because it is a big piece, and I'm going to need your help to position. And by the way, this liner here probably took about 25 wheelbarrows of dirt. Put the liner. I kind of specifically made a 2-foot by 2-foot trench in the bottom. The rest of it's about 1 foot. That way it's just big enough when the leaves settle down in there, I can take a pond net, scoop everything out. Another thing is, I don't think you can see it, but there's an orange brick that's holding my rain chain. Hey guys, when you look down there and you got water, what do you think orange, when you look at something orange in a pool, you think, or a pond, you think it's a koi. This one here, this special koi here, it doesn't move. Well, it doesn't move at all, but it looks pretty neat, especially with water. You think it's a koi fish. Costs about 50 cents. It doesn't grow. You don't have to feed it. And all the animals, like the cats and raccoons, they're not too happy when they finally see what it is. But just something in there when you're walking by. It's a brick and not a koi. So next year, when we get into this, I'm going to put a couple tropicals because there's couple places where a tropical water lily can go in here, and the leaves can actually take up some of the liner. And again, with this being a display garden, I didn't want to put a lot of rocks in there because they're a pain in the neck, especially these big boulders. We're going to come across next year, and right where you see this accent rock, but this is actually a bubbling rock, I'm going to put a big, huge, it's the P. Conus waterfall. I believe it's a 003. It's almost 8 feet long, and it's pretty close to about 3 feet high. I'm going to have that featured here going into this other pond. So let's keep, we're going to carry on to our next water garden. And this one here, I think is probably my favorite just because what it does. This here's on my deck, and it's actually a patio pond waterfall combination. Comes in small, medium, and large. And the reason I like it is I consider my deck the transition room from going from the house to the outside and vice versa. I can see it from the majority of my rooms. I hear it. Also set with this is another rain chain. I like to see these different other aspects of the water, of gardening, such as this wind spinner. Also, what kind of water garden would be complete without a wind chime? I like to hear the chime with the water. It's just relaxing. You put a little bit of fog and a little bit of light. You see the magical and mysterious looks. Put a couple garden gnomes. You get a little enchantment with it. So that's basically all I have for you. There's a guy behind me that puts quarters in my pocket to give you another 5 minutes. He ran out of change, so we're going to end this. But again, let's go over some of the key points. And when you look at this patio pond, you can see the awesome art. You know, I call these art because that's what it is. It's like water art. Just look at, and we're going to get right in there so you can see this real close. You can see the different crevices, the cracks, and this really looks, I mean, it's a beautiful rock. And really, when I ask my kids what's their favorite one, of course, Sean, he likes the one that he designed. My other son likes the Maldives, which is the cave at the end, just because of the lighting at night. And my daughter likes this one because when she's eating breakfast or whatever, it's right here. And another thing that makes this kind of exciting is when it fogs at night, when we have the fan on inside pulling in the cool air, it pulls the fog, goes right across our kitchen, right into the living room. So what makes these really cool is they're very universal. And what does that mean? These different rock formations, you can use them in different spots. This one here, I'm going to move this to the other pond that I have and introduce another one that's actually used for one of the swimming pool waterfall kits, just to show you, because a lot of people say, hey, if I buy one of these, am I stuck with the same look? Because a lot of them out there, especially the fiberglass world, they are just that. These here, I had kind of correct a customer that just received the pool waterfall and says, hey, I got your 3 fiberglass rocks, and I had to kindly, gently kind of install a little bit that, hey, you know what, these aren't, they're nothing like fiberglass. Fiberglass I've had in the past, what happens with fiberglass? You lose the coloration, they will crack, they always seem to break in some way. These here just, I mean, I fabricate a lot of different plastics. I used to do a lot of the fabrication of fume hoods for cyanides, for caustics, for chromes, for acid copper. So yeah, we use PVC, CPVC, polypropylene, polyethylene. So you get the picture. Plastics are completely different. It's not like when you see a milk jug and say, hey, that's a cheap plastic. These here are really cool. They're all set up to last. I expect no problems with this. And in fact, I can see these lasting indefinitely just because I fabricated all kinds of fume hoods, the different tanks, plating cells and stuff. So these are incredible. And when you look at these types of things, and one other feature that this one has that I kind of like, that even though it's a patio pond, it absolutely can go anywhere in the landscape that has a flat surface that's level. Excuse me, that you don't want to dig. And even like I said before, there's very limited digging, and all the digging that you do for the pond, you use it into lifting your waterfalls. And what's so another fascinating aspect of these is there's 20 different waterfalls, 22 different ponds, all the different cascade waterfalls, along with spillway ponds, along with all the bubbling rocks. You get the picture, and there's all-in-ones. There are so many different combinations that it encapsulates every aspect of your garden or backyard landscaping and beyond. What does that mean, beyond? I've had people put these already in their basement. One of the vertical ones went in there. The girl had a pond with the lighting, turtles and koi fish. Another one of those type of units went on somebody's rooftops for a waterfall. So you get the idea with them being lightweight. It's just not about the pond. It's just not about, it's about doing anything you want with them. They're very universal. And like I mentioned before with my son, hey, it's a great family project. It's a way to have something with the family. And what makes it nice is these are safe. They're not like real rocks where you're going to get hurt on and so on. This here, which I kind of like, this took me an hour to put in, this patio pond. And actually, it took 5 minutes to put in position, 10 minutes to fill with water, and 45 minutes to sit in a chair and go, wow, this is really incredible. So I'm going to leave you with that. Again, this is a cool display garden, and everybody's invited. If you're in Northeast Ohio, give me a call. and you can certainly see it, but most of all, I want to put in value for not only Garden Gnomes, but my supplier, that I have these things set up here, and it's a lot more than a picture. What does a picture do? It creates kind of, you're not sure what you're getting. It's very hard to tell what you're getting from a picture until you see a video. So again, I'm going to be doing quite a few of these videos so you can see it. These are all lit up with timers and photo cells. So in the morning and the dawn hours, yes, they're lit up. In the evening, they're lit up. And here at Garden Gnomes, I don't care if you call me up the day before and say, Dave, I want to come over and see these at 6:30. I want to see this magical, enchanted effects of these waterfalls. Hey, I want to come in the evening and see this. Hey, guess what? I'm here to help. And that's what people who do a lot of gardening do. They help other people to enjoy the water gardening. And also with this site, it's creating your water garden, whether it's a tropical oasis, whether it's a woodland setting, whether it's just a garden pond or a backyard pond. You can go ahead and create your own cool statues with all the trolls and the gnomes, the frogs, the toads, the turtles. You get the point. You could make the whole thing work right here.